Welcome everyone. It is Kolee the Practical Saint coming to you live from my home studio in the middle of the United States. Is where I am currently. I am here as always with a beautiful, amazing Practical Saint Talks guest. I am going to introduce her in just a moment. I'm really excited about this cast today. We are going to be talking about karmic partners, and my guest is really, really, really smart. And so I can't wait to talk more about the work that she does and the work that she really is an expert in. And so Tracee Dunblazier is going to be my beautiful guest today. And before we talk to her, I just want to um, touch on some of the most important people that help make the podcast happen, but they just help my life happen. And by that I mean the practical think tools that I've been able to amass over the last couple decades in helping this physical body, this my being, Coley Hemingway, transcend and come into a little bit more of my power, I suppose. I'm going to screen share and I want to show you guys. Let's see. I don't know why this is on there. I want to first highlight where we can go to get Tracee's book that we are going to be talking about today. Conquer Your Karmic Relationships, Heal Spiritual Trauma. Hold on, let me move my box. Heal spiritual trauma to open your heart and restore your soul. And this is book 3 in her Demon Slayer's Handbook series. So she really has been working on these types of relationship healing dynamics for it seems like most of her writing career, but we get to dive in and talk to her, and I'm sure she's not only going to help us with practical tips, but also I like to see people evolve and how she's been able to evolve. I first was introduced to her with the Rainbow Warrior Activation deck, and I have my deck right here. And so I just love that I get to talk to her today. But you can get all of her stuff on Amazon.com, and right now it's not affiliated through my site. I'm sure it will be, but this will definitely have the click-through links that you're able to get to her stuff. So make sure to at least get the newest book about the karmic partners and check out her whole library that she's helped create, because really this handbook, this series is it's just a multifaceted tools that can really help us to up level any way that we are working toward, and that means spirit or physical, emotionally. So I want to highlight again where to get some of these essential items, the holistic healing tools that I've amassed. And again, these are my partners. These are my affiliate link partners that help to fund and monetize the podcast that you're listening to. And so my partner that I wanted to highlight today, because we have Tracee on, who is a highly spiritual empath. She is a beautiful rainbow warrior healer. I want to just talk about the gene keys, and I know you guys have heard me talk about that, but I just want to mention that there are affiliate links here, and I can't even honestly tell you that I have a promo code with Gene Key people, but I love them so much. So you can just go on essentialmind.me and click through the shop holistic healing tools, and this book is the one that helps to kind of clarify the reading that you can get for free as a free profile reading. But a lot of the things that Tracee and I are going to be covering today about like shadow work and some of these definitions and phrases that you'll hear us talking about and concepts really can be broken down to a practical saint way of, I think, comprehending in the Gene Keys methodology that Richard Redditt put forth a while ago. And it is just leaping off of the I Ching, you know, that has been around for thousands of years, which is just our zodiac in a little bit smaller pieces, broken down into 64 instead of 12. So I wanted to highlight that this morning as my affiliate link partner that's helping monetize the podcast and helping the YouTube channel fund. As you know, this is all about holistic tools that actually help us to grow. So without further ado, make sure to click through the links from the shop that Practical Saint has been a part of. You know, my blog is there, and then also we get to, I think, do I even have the, oh yeah, up in my site, there's definitely the podcast too that you can listen to. So funny. Anyway, we're getting ourselves all together. I'm going to go ahead and read Tracee's bio that is just outstanding. So here is the site where you can go and you can click through. I have my codes, I have my people that I love supporting, and here's where you can just listen to the podcast. Anytime that you click through any of the affiliate links and ad partners, of course, you know that you're helping to bring the show to millions of people, actually, is who we're dealing with. So I'm going to stop my share now. And now I'm going to introduce my beautiful guest that I'm so honored to have on talking to us today. Tracee Dunblazier is a LA-based spiritual empath. She's a shaman and 7-time national award-winning author. She, as a multisensitive, Tracee's blend of intuitive information combined with different modalities has provided the opportunity for many to achieve deep healing and create the success and peace they seek in their lives. Empathetic, delightfully vulnerable, and profoundly real, Tracee Dunblazier's new keynote, Conquer Your Karmic Relationships, is an enlightening presentation that will open your mind to what is happening right in front of you, the multiple energetic dimensions that we all share. So no matter where you sit on the spectrum of understanding, Tracee makes tangible the connection between mental wellness and spirituality. Dunblazier takes a look at your spiritual imprints and the repetitive patterns that position you in life on every level, understanding what karma is and learning all the ways to reveal, accept, forgive, and transform your relationships in every dimension. So not only to your beloveds in romantic entanglements, but how we relate to food, money, family, culture, religion, sex, death, and the environment. This is, you can see that this is a totally popular subject, and it is going to help us unearth the very core of what drives us. And she'll show us how that is direct, showing how to direct its power into usable, life-giving resources for us and all of our relationships. So I'm super excited, you guys. Her compassionate, humorous, down-to-earth style empowers her clients and readers and listeners to address difficult topics with courage and clarity. So this is seriously practical saint shit. Because of this, Tracee is consistently called upon for her expertise in the spiritual community. And again, I'm just super, super grateful to have her on with us. She founded Go Tracee Publishing in 2015. And since then, it is the nationally recognized hybrid publisher that specializing in spiritual healing memoirs. Wink, wink. I didn't know about that until now. So I'm super excited. Maybe my spiritual healing memoir will be with her publishing company. We'll see. That wasn't my plan, Tracee. I didn't know. It's Practical Saint here. So she also has the divination oracle decks that I talked about. So, well, I don't know if we're going to get to pull any of those cards, but I super love the Rainbow Warrior activation cards. Those are actually my first deck that I ever got, and that was probably 2 years ago, I think, in 2018. Um, I go back to Tracee. Her best-selling Demon Slayer Handbook series and the Rainbow Warrior Activation deck are offering light in dark places and game changers for those who suffer. So the Go Tracee publications expand the reader's understanding of spiritual transformation and offer the knowledge that we need to live our best life. So we are so grateful to have Tracee with us today. And so here we are with the beautiful Tracee Dunblazier. Woo! I'm so thankful to have her. I can't believe it. I'm really, really blessed. Thank you, Tracee, for being here.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Let's give the people a rundown of what we're going to try to stick to today. The who, what, where, when, whys. Who are we talking about or talking to?
We're talking to Tracee Dunblazier. I'm a spiritual empath, shaman, and actually now I'm a 9-time award-winning author and publisher.
Congratulations, Mazel Tov.
Just two days ago, I got woo! Conquer your karmic. The what is Conquer Your Karmic Relationships? My newest book. It's the third in the series of the Demon Slayers Handbook series, and it just won a New York City Big Book Award for relationship books. Very excited about that.
Congratulations. Who's our who? Oh, did we do our who already?
We did the who, Tracee Dunblazier.
Yes, where?
Where is anywhere you are? I'm right here, but I'm based in Los Angeles, California.
Nice. I'm right here. Don't you love being global, galactic?
I do. You know, it's interesting. Before the pandemic, I was really struggling with doing YouTube and doing videos and that kind. I really struggled with it because I'm not a tech person. I'm fine on camera, but I'm not a tech person. And so when this all happened, I just kind of got shoved into it, and now it's a breeze. And I have my little setup, and it's wonderful. So I'm so grateful because it's believe it or not, I'm not actually a writer. I'm a better storyteller in words than I am. Well, I have to work at it on paper. Let's put it that way. I work really hard to get it on paper.
I get that. I totally get that. Yes. Well, when she's right here, and I did ask you a little bit about time. When are we talking?
What do you mean in terms of when?
I don't know. It's a funny question, isn't it? I don't even know why it fits into the story, but people like to know when, and they like to know where. Where do you live? People always ask that, right? That's the number one question. So where are you from? And I'm like, oh God, like, what answer do I give?
Well, so the books have taken place. They really are my story, my history, my spiritual history, my present day history. The Conquer Your Karmic Relationships is really about. I'm a relationship counselor. That's one of the things that I do, but I'm not a. I really deal with the spiritual dynamics of relationships because any relationship that you're in, there is an underlying spiritual dynamic that you're either aware of or you're not.
Totally.
And so for the last 10 years, that's been a huge focus for me with other people because it has been a huge focus in my life on a much deeper level to understand. So this is the last, say, 1,000 years of knowledge all coming down into one little spot.
I love it.
Right now.
Right here, right now. Yes. Yes.
I like your Olympic.
And I look like that one, that Bendy. She was short and spunky and I can't think of her name, darn it. But anyway, I could be Olympic. I could be. I'm like the Special Olympics. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. It's who I am. It's who I am.
You're on your own wavelength, girl.
I know, Jesus. So thank you for saying right here, right now, and why you are a relationship coach. And I would venture to say that, like you just said, if one isn't aware of the energetic spiritual dynamic, then the relationship is just destined to fail, basically, or
Well,
feel bad. It's gonna feel negative and gritty. It's not ever gonna be harmonious and in tune, as it were, right? Is that true?
there's well, in any relationship, there are things to work out, and so you can only really truly work on what you know about or what you have.
Right.
It's not everybody else's fault. You know, when people will have multiple relationships and have the same dynamic over and over in each relationship, and eventually after, like, say, the third, you really can't. You are the common denominator in all of those relationships, so you really have to pay attention to
Right.
what am I attracting? How do I participate? How do I relate to it? And what do I want to do with that?
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
yeah.
Which is like 100% responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can only do what you can do. And we are so much more empowered and able to take responsibility for all the things that ail us. Believe it or not, it is our relationship to the outer world that causes us the grief, not the outer world.
Yeah.
People are going to do what they're going to do. And yes, there's definitely a process where one has to accept that we can't control everything. But once you've done that, your world, you become much more aware of your own microcosm and how you impact your wellness on every level every day.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, one of the things with the book, a lot of people have really, a lot of my reviewers have really picked up on the fact that this is a manual for these times. This book was written for these times going on right now, because we are on a global scale having to relate. Many more people are having self-actualization and self-realization experiences, but with no either religious or spiritual background to really help them understand.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, if you don't participate in a religion, I mean, today, a lot of the religions exist. They can teach you about yourself and about your relationship, about ways of accessing your relationship to the creator. But at a certain point, you have to own that for yourself.
Right.
Right. And
Embody it, right?
you have to embody it. And sometimes when you do that, you can't really fit yourself into a religious paradigm.
Yeah, totally.
And when that exists, that has left, I'm going to say, the last 30 years of people who are disgruntled and have, you know, negative relationships with their religion. So they can't go there,
Yeah.
you know, and they haven't really forged a new way because they still feel shame about that old ideal.
Right.
Right. They haven't created something new. So they're in this purgatory, you know, this between space of how to own their relationship with themselves, their highest self, and the creator. So that this book is meant to fill as many of those gaps as possible with information about you, the universal you, each of us, that you can take what serves you and keep moving if it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know?
So much. And that book it seriously is chock full of, like, I mean, oh, she like packed it in. It is really a beautiful guidebook, and it is articulately like laid out so that one could pick it up. And like, yeah, you've done a wonderful
Thank you.
guide. You've been a beautiful guide, and the book is literally what she is touting. It really is. And I mean, she's been a guide. You've been a guide for a long time, and yet this is, people don't probably get really, the writing is like a labor of love, especially when it comes to putting these huge concepts that traditionally have taken literally, I mean, even hundreds of lifetime cycles to be able to teach. I mean, or I don't even mean teach. I mean, emulate or like articulate.
Find acceptance in. That's the thing that I find
Wow,
is accept,
definitely.
right? Because if you don't accept it, you can't articulate it. And I think that's you're really nailing it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And yes, exactly. Being able to detach, I suppose, from the humanness of the shame and the guilt and all of those things that are karmically tied to keeping us blindfolded, right? Is that?
Well, so what I would say with that, because how you just described it is in a linear fashion, which is past, present, and future. And the goal of the book, and our goal, I think, as globally now, spiritually as people, our goal is to understand that there is never an end to anything. And,
Right.
and so that everything that exists, so you said shame, and what was the other word you used? Shame and
Guilt.
shame and guilt. So those two things, we have to understand that they have a purpose, that they
Hmm.
are emotions that we experience, and that they are messages from our creator to us. And they're stronger emotions. So that means that when we are not paying attention to our creator and we're not necessarily mindful of ourselves, they're like the punch in the gut that you need. Like guilt is the punch in the gut and the punch in the heart.
Oh.
I call them not the punch to the throat, that's shame.
Oh my gosh, I just love these. This is really good. That's good.
In the book, I call them arrows. And when you have these negative emotions that are arrows and they hit you, when that happens, that is yourself trying to tell yourself something. Guilt,
Yeah.
guilt tells you that you are not giving yourself what you need. It's not about you and what you didn't do for somebody else. It's about you and what you need to offer yourself. If you're feeling guilty, let's say somebody has essentially bailed on their religion that they may have practiced for day in day out 5 times a week, and now they're like, no,
Right.
right? And they feel guilt about that. The sin is not leaving the religion. The sin is believing that the religion is the relationship with the creator.
Totally.
And so then that turns you into like, you have to own your own relationship with your creator. And you can do that independently, or you can do it in a group, however you like it.
Mhm.
So there. And then shame is what we're not saying. Wherever you feel it most in the body is an indication of what it's trying to tell you to do. So if you're feeling ashamed of something, you are not owning your power in that place. A lot
Mhm.
of people have sexual shame,
Mhm.
dating, sexual orientation shame, religious shame. I mean, there's plenty of shame to go around.
Right.
Whatever your shame is in relationship to, it's that you aren't owning your power in that place. We are sexual beings, and we deserve to be at peace with that, and not
Yeah.
ashamed of wherever we're at, whatever we want, whoever we want, when we want. Right? As long as when you are doing something that empowers yourself and others, then you are in harmony.
Yeah.
So
Eh,
that when you take those emotions, it's a 360. It's a spherical experience that they are giving you information. And literally, once you take in and accept that information, you receive it, the feeling goes away. That shame feeling or that guilt feeling goes away.
Yeah.
So, and that's the goal.
Right. It's transmuted. I mean, it is alchemized, right? That's that process.
Yes.
And where would it go then, do you say? Like what is the opposite of shame or guilt? Feeling of acceptance?
Guilt is revelatory. When you feel guilty, you're hiding something, right? And so when you reveal it, you no longer are guilty about it, because
Mhm.
you're taking that active energy and using it in the world. And shame really is oftentimes transformed when we speak our truth.
Mm-hmm.
We own who we are and we tell other people about it. You know, being a psychic, for the majority of my life, definitely through my childhood, I had a very split life where I would, you know, cry and dream all night. And then during the day I was, you know, hey, how you doing? Like I can't even imagine. I don't think I could sit and look back on Tracee in high school, or even in my 20s it got better. But in my grade school time, my childhood years, I couldn't witness her because she was so separated
Mm-hmm.
from what was her true self.
I
I mean,
hear you.
that was how I survived what I
Yeah,
knew.
right.
So for me, it wasn't until I lived in New York for 10 years and then I first came to LA that I started doing this professionally, that people started to acknowledge me and my ability to do this. And they started to speak about me and acknowledge me. And I still was like, oh God, somebody could
Yeah,
kill me. You
right.
know,
Yes.
the unconscious, our fears at some point, our unconscious fears go back historically on a spiritual level to a time and place in some space and time in our history where we were murdered, or
Absolutely.
and we had
Horrific deaths. Like not just a bullet to the brain, which would have been humane. It was like torture,
right, exactly.
burning, flesh, like yeah, horrible, unspeakable.
Yeah, and things that they're still doing in certain countries
Yeah,
today.
of
So
course. Yes.
so when we have a deeply unconscious spiritual pattern, like talking about karmic relationships, how you relate your karmic relationships can be with partners of any format,
Mm-hmm.
people, places, things, memories, past
Yeah.
lives, right? A spiritual dynamic that uh, lives in you and begins to attract to you things that mirror it in some way, so that you can become aware of what your real feelings are and where they originated. And
Right. I
once,
just, yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up. That I appreciate that dynamic. I get so sick and tired of seeing relationships labeled as the romantic soulmate partner. I'm like, relationships are with everything. And thank you for bringing that out and just reminding us that karmic is more than your love romantic partner.
well, and I think that we learn in our romantic soulmates and beloveds, I think we learn how to love. We learn, you know, soulmates are soulmates. And when someone says, "Oh, you're my soulmate," or "Do you have a soulmate?" or "I'm looking for my soulmate," I'm like, I don't know. I don't know that you want to do that. I mean, of course I do, but it's not it never usually ends well until one is really able to reconcile the truth about themselves or what they attract or their partner, or, you know, create an amicable separation or end to one way of relating, which is usually the sexual romantic way. It is, you know, soulmates teach each other how to really love themselves first and then fully love others. You can't love another person until you are willing to do well by yourself,
Of
do
course.
good by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. This is I'm my preacher girl. That's why I have people on my show, because they're like smart and beautiful and they say what I do. So just keep it coming. Like, yes, sacred harmonious union with oneself is what I've been touting. And people are like, what? And I'm like,
Right.
well, I've had the experiences of meeting even like my dark twin, like in a human form, like someone whose body is like their design is like mine, and like we're the same, not same. I had to look at that person and be like, wow, there's some things about me that I really don't like, and I'm not gonna do it with you anymore.
Yes,
I'm just gonna deal with myself, and yeah, here we are on the journey, and it's
absolutely.
never expect any other person. Like, I mean, I live with my children, which is
How many kids? Oh, can I ask a personal question?
I have 5 sons, and one is he will be graduating from college, and
Wow.
then so 4 live with me, and one is graduating high school this year.
Oh
So I
my
have,
goodness.
I know, it's like a litter. It is a true litter. So the 3 little ones are the ones that I work with, mainly because I can manipulate the future still. I know. So yeah, I mean, I'm faced with those relationships, and like talk about mirroring my own childhood. Like, give me a break. Like, parenthood and relationships in general are not for the faint of heart. No,
Yeah.
they're certainly not.
Well, that's one of the kinds of relationships that I speak about in the book is about parenting, parenting and children, and the children, children from the perspective of the parents that you choose and the authority figures that you end up with. But parents, when you have children, it's, I never had children for many reasons. I think eventually I thought once I did all of my work, I would then do that, and then I didn't.
I've heard that one. That's
Um, not I'm good with it because
right.
even today there's certain things about raising a child that I really couldn't do well, but I also feel like my work raises many children. But
Yes.
the thing that I witness with a lot of parents, and I can't even imagine being a 20-year-old parent or a 25-year-old parent or even a 30-year-old with an older child, because the more
Yeah.
children become empowered, it's not about, parents don't get do-overs because of their kids. They just don't. And some people don't know that, and so they think that they do a lot of living through their children. And I mean, it's a unique thing to be able to take a being and receive them as they are, not as you wish them to be.
Oh yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
with all relationships, right?
Right.
We want people to be who we want them to be, and we see them as that until it's glaringly obvious that that's not who they are. So being
Or
able to
yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, you're so awesome. I want to try to articulate some of it. It's really not necessary. You guys can watch this over and over. What you're saying is totally true. I was just thinking like the reflection. I mean, we see we project onto others what we need them to be until we don't, right? Until, like you brilliantly said, your past is your present until it isn't. Like,
Right.
until we break that reflection or projection, as it were, to the other person to be who we really just need to be ourselves. And then it becomes glaringly obvious, like you said, that you're not going to be that because I am already that. And there's really, we don't need 2 of me, honestly. Like, Lord knows. I'm good. We're good. And even my, divine counterpart, that's what I'm labeling the other as, would be the one, that's like the another body, me in another body, who really is dedicated to like my mission. My mission is their mission is my mission. And like harmonious union. And I want that. Well, I don't even know what I was saying. I got all caught up in my
We went
divine.
down the road a bit. That's okay.
I know. I like who I am, and I got to that place. Like I mentioned, I went public about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and like you, I just, before I did accept myself, I had 2 complete selves, or many selves, where I was split off from my divine being, and just out of fear of death. And
Right.
you know, I'm a recovering Jew where they cut you off from your kin. I'm like, God, that sounds horrible. Don't cut me off. And then I was like, oh, never mind. Cut me off. Cut me.
Say no, I'm good. Hey, good. Go with God. Go.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that spiritually speaking, we are at a place where we must now accept, like we being the universe, like everyone on the globe right now must really begin to accept that exactly who we are, how we are, when we are that way, that is our divinity.
Yes.
There is no separation between us and the creator, that we are a reflection of this kaleidoscope that the creator has brought down into the world, and we are living that, and to own that and to be empowered in that, and no one else can tell you what that is, for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know where it comes from. It's like it's like who first came up with the idea of, well, let's control them, let's take their money, let's keep them subdued so that we can continue to prosper and have what we want, and whatever. It's just some crazy shit out there. Oop, can I say that?
Oh, yes. Yes. I checked the box that says explicit lyrics, so we can say whatever we want.
Good. Yes, explicit lyrics here.
And if that's the worst of them, we are doing just different than normal. Yes. Yes, there is some crazy shit going on. And like I think what you're saying and actually are writing about is because we are literally seeing clearer of there's more consciousness that is in this stream, right? And so obviously when we look outside, well, actually when I'm looking outside it's raining, so it's nice, and thank God there's not bombs going off in my yard right
Yes.
now. But I mean, we have people all over the globe, and there are people that have that scene in their 3D space of bombs going off. And like, I mean, I'm a traditional Buddha. Like, I really want to help the suffering. It's a delusional help,
Well,
but I don't want people to suffer.
I think that one, and I think this is what the Buddha's path was, Siddhartha's path was, to begin to understand that it is through our suffering that we transform mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and access the divine in our physical space.
Yeah.
It is through that suffering that we access that level of ourself. And so I think when one understands that that's what suffering is, and I'll now use the word suffering equals grief. When we grieve everything. Every transition we go through, we will grieve it. There's a process of recognizing it, owning it, accepting it, crying about it, and then moving on from it. And once we've gone through whatever process our grieving process is, we then get a new lens to look through. And I think when you speak about consciousness, one of the things that's happening on the planet is that the magnetics are different.
Yeah.
They're in a different position, and the magnetics are different, and it's making more of us naturally move into this new consciousness or vibration of energy, where it's like there's so many more people in the room.
Right.
Some people are right now new to the room, and so they're just going, oh my God, this is too much. And then there are others who are like, hey, just breathe through it. It's going to be fine.
Yes.
Don't you worry. We're going to make through this. We're going to make it through this time, and we are going to make it through this time.
Yeah.
But for many people, they are on the front lines of that paradigm of control, torture, just complete obliteration. That's their frequency of transformation.
Yeah.
And that's deep. And who are we to question that for them?
Totally. And they is us. We are dealing with that shit. Otherwise it wouldn't be, right?
Right. Whatever your circumstances are, that is your divinity. And if you can own and accept that and bring that, that gives you a freedom from, if you don't like what you're seeing, it gives you a freedom. It will give you options you didn't know you had until you became open to them.
Yeah, totally.
Move yourself from that position. And I think there's a whole other level of power that people have that we are not culturally encouraged to acknowledge or accept, let alone wield.
Oh, wow.
Boom.
Totally. I know. I'm gonna have to go back and quote that. That's a good soundbite. Where were we? Yeah, totally. That was amazing. It is true. I think, yeah, just taking the morality out of divinity and acknowledging it for all its forms is probably, kind of what you're.
Right. I mean, that's what enlightenment is. It's interesting. I was deeply burdened. As a child, I had demonic experiences all night, every night, other entities, voices in my head, all kinds of things that I never told anybody because I knew that they would, either medicate me or whatever. That just was not going to happen. I was also very rational. So I had a deeper understanding of my experience. So I just didn't want to expose anybody else to it because I didn't want to deal with their opinion of that.
Right.
But yet it was a burden, and it was a burden that I carried well into my time in New York. My time in New York and my time here in LA. And around 35 years old, something happened. I had this experience where the last spirit that I had carried, I consider myself spirited. I had multiple spirits that lived with me all through, my 30s. But at 35, the final transformation happened where the final spirit that I was carrying, she rose up, she lifted off of me. And for the first time, I saw myself what I didn't know is how other people saw me. Once she left, I finally was like, oh,
I know.
I get it. Okay. But when that happened, there was such an enlightening, like literally the burden lifted and the colors became brighter. I was freer. My life hadn't changed at all. I still owed the same bills and paid rent, and I still did all of these things and had mundane work, but that burden was off of me. And I understood then enlightenment and the unbearable lightness of being. It is truly our burdens that keep us grounded and connected with people and things that we love. It's like, a crackhead loves that crack.
Right.
Until they get sober, and then they don't love it because they always love the drug, but they don't like the circumstances that it leads to for them.
Right.
And so that's a really, gnarly presentation of the dynamic, but it's true. The truth is that our burdens keep us grounded and centered. And when you become enlightened, when you decide that you want to release yourself of those burdens, things that you like are going to go with it.
Yeah.
And not only, you can still participate in those things, but it's going to hurt more every time you do. And then eventually you're just going to have to let go of them altogether. But the good news is there's going to be a whole new set of things that are going to take their place, that you're going to love even more. That's going to be more enriching. Right. But we don't really realize that, people can have, so when I use the word demon, I'm literally talking about a dimension of spiritual beings that live in a caste system, and they've never incarnated as a human, so they don't have that kind of experience. They really mold to whatever energy vibration, the nature of, if somebody's feeling shame or guilt or rage or, whatever they're aligning with is the nature of the entity that is created. And some of those entities that were created thousands of years ago still exist. And so
and have gotten a lot more power dense, like matter.
Right. So when we see when we see some of the depictions in the movies, those are the ones we're seeing, beings that have still not ever incarnated in a human body, but have become manifest because of how they've been nurtured for thousands of years.
Yeah, right.
But all of them have an emotional beginning.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
And some people have guides, right, that are of a demonic nature, and they can guide them for a period of time until they can't anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's good until it's really bad.
Right. Yeah.
That's when you have to make the change, and you've got to be prepared to make that change.
Yeah.
And that dynamic is everyone is experiencing it right now. It's really, it's really fun to have a lot of money until you fuck off all your money, and then you have all these bills from all that money that you made that then you overspent.
Right.
So it's like it's a lot of fun until it's just not anymore, and we have to create that gray area in between where we can wield our power and own who we are, and include others in that process, build up others in that process.
I love that. I love include others in that process. That I think is hitting it right there. Like, and I think that's what you intended with your book, to help others through. You're including others in this process, which, I mean, to be clear, like, you have had a unique experience in coming to this wisdom, and I'm sure you don't wish that lifestyle on any being. Like, the things that I've had to learn, I don't wish for anyone to have to go through, and yet I chose it willingly in order to transmute that shit. And so the book that you wrote is beautifully written, and it can help others get to the space, the sacred harmonious union within ourselves and then others around us, and divinity, embody the real divinity that is ours.
Right.
We're a part of, I mean, in really every faith, it implied divinity is inside of us, and we are inside of divinity. And has been tailored to your unique upbringing, as you bring in, it's just karmic ties. Energy is energy, and anyone can get a lot of your even methodologies to clearing out the karmic, because like you're saying, I mean, it is literally, this is the time people are even being born into the fourth dimension, which is mind-blowing for me as a mother who has been doing this way too long, bringing in these baby beings way too long. I'm like, God, couldn't you just be born into a new body? And finally, I think the last one, I think we made it. I'm like, God, geez, this has been hard work. And this is what we're all getting to do together, all hands on deck. We're affecting real change. We're building a new earth. We're building a new paradigm where we're 100% man or human, 100% divine, and embodying that in reality, which is fucking crazy. Like 2020. Right. It's so amazing.
It's interesting when you talk about, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, what I've experienced, but I think the fact that it's not that you would wish it upon, it's that it is upon others.
I know, that's true.
And your willingness to be open about your own experience in it is what is powerful. You're not putting it on others, you are sharing it with others so that they can recognize it in themselves and free themselves from their burden, as you are seeking to do. And so I think it's really important. One of the things that I think that religion seeks to do is to tell us how to live. And rather than helping us embrace the way we're living, and then make changes if something is not serving us or others in our lives, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to say that if one of your if a few of your listeners are religious and they practice a spiritual philosophy, the book doesn't interfere with that.
Right.
And you can connect with what's here and then apply it to what you're already doing.
Yeah.
Right? The goal is not to interfere with anybody's path, but to create a foundation where we can get closer and closer to a common denominator with everyone.
Yes. Perfectly said. I agree. Yes. Yes. So well said. So definitely, we're not separating or excluding, and thank you for reminding me that I'm not the only one that has been through the horrible things. I like you say. I mean, basically, we all are on some kind of a path. And a lot of people have these suffering stories or negative, like, dramas. I don't know. Negative is a funny word too, positive and negative, but uncomfortable.
But it's trauma. Just no matter
Trauma.
how you life
There
it's
is
trauma.
trauma. And a lot of people experience trauma. Like,
Everybody.
yeah,
I mean, even the people who don't, there are a lot of people who seem really happy-go-lucky and nothing has ever happened, but you never really know until you really know. And a lot of people are living and they don't know what they've experienced.
that's right. And even just the thought of us being like bombed all of a sudden, I mean, that's pretty traumatizing to live in a world where at any moment
Right.
anything could literally happen.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
trauma. That's traumatizing.
Every day.
Every
Every day.
day.
Absolutely. And some people, their circumstances may be what we would call stable,
Yeah.
emotionally feel that way every minute of every day. And let me say, kolee, it's a special person who can give voice to that. And I mean, obviously you're here, you own it because you're putting it out there, but I just want to really acknowledge you for that, because it's offering those who you are to be a healer of a particular vibration of events and circumstances in life. It's a powerful thing to be that representative and give voice to those things and give access to the people who, you know, it's common when there are new age people in transformation to want to, ooh, that's just too heavy of a vibration, I don't want to, they're so negative, and you know,
Right.
you know, and it's like part of healing is to be in it but not of it. You
Yeah.
can only do your work, and because you do your work, you allow millions of others to be able to do their work as well, just by you being you every day.
Yeah.
So important and good work.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, what a great day. We got it on film too. You guys hear? Did you hear that? Tracee likes me. So there you go. Thank you, Tracee. Thank you. Thank you. You are indeed a healing mama for millions as well. And you are highly honored, and I appreciate you. I pay you homage and so much for all that you do. And I want people, of course, to just get these books. And
Can I tell you about something?
yes, please do.
So this I this is my 5th year anniversary for the publishing company and the Demon Players Handbook series. So I created a little box set.
I love it.
It says box set.
I love it.
And you can get all 3 of them. Where's the other one? There it is. You can get all 3 of them in it. And the only way you can get it is at beaslayer.com.
Okay.
Available in the stores. I didn't buy enough to send it nationally. I have 250 pieces that I'm selling over the holidays, and they're $70. So
Perfect.
message me. I'm just really excited. It was really a way for me to really commemorate and honor, you know, the work so far, and then give me a launching pad for my next thing, whatever that's going to be.
Awesome. I love it. It's perfect. It's great. And $70, I mean, like, it costs like $150 an hour to get a therapist or something. So That's a great bargain.
No, it is. It's a great deal.
Totally. Thank you. And wouldn't it be amazing if all of them sold out over the holidays and people started reading that? And like traditionally, the time that is most traumatic and like most invigorating to the demons, as it were, then we could like I love your demon too. I love my demons. And now we're done with you. And we just rise up like the phoenix during Christmas time.
I think too, it's hilarious when you say I love your demon too. Um, it's funny because that's literally how, like, when religious people have connected with me about the books, that's how they picture us. And they're like, no. But the truth is, when we set boundaries with something, and when we say no to something, that's the way that we love them. Is
Yeah, totally.
create chaos and change in our lives. That's how we love them. That's how we love each other, is to not allow someone who is wanting deeply to create chaos to not let them.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
Can I
Yes.
can I read you something from the book? I know we're probably wrapping up here, but can I read something?
Yeah, we're wrapping up and I'd love to hear it. Let's do it. Of course.
So it's called The Karma of Dignity and Respect.
Okay.
And some would say that finding true dignity for yourself and respect for others releases you of karma. As most of us relate to karma as something harsh and binding, it certainly can feel that way. The truth is, your karma is what you've made it. On a personal level, it is your inherent reactions over time to your choices, thinking, and behavior. Acting with dignity and respect creates higher vibrational waves of energetic response. Dignity and respect are like a salve to an ancestral scar, day by day removing layers of pain, grief, disbelief, and confusion that you may not know you have. Honoring others and their insights can become a paved road instead of a rocky one, allowing you to deeply understand you and your karma, and eventually others.
Oh, so good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we dedicate those words to the merit of all. That we can all up level from that in a relatively pain-free situation. But as Tracee says, the pain is where the message is. So
Well,
thank
the pain and the pleasure. I want to reiterate that. Don't run to the pain, because once you move through the pain, the glory that comes after, you can't get that any other way, and it's magnificent, and it changes you on
yeah.
every. So sorry, I know you
Don't,
were
no, no, you're perfect. Don't be afraid of the pain, people. Go for the pain.
pain girl.
They're like, okay, cut transmission now. We're done. No, we are going to be, we can see this for a long time to come, and the message goes out for all dimensions at any time that you're listening to it. It's the perfect time. It is a message from your highest self, from the future, just meant to go ahead and feel the fear, do it anyway, feel the pain, and know that it's never a permanent situation. Our emotions are meant to give us messages, and honestly, if until we embrace them and get in there a little bit and do a little surgery, I mean, they're going to keep coming back, either in this body or if you know die out another body, and it's a continuous cycle, and so it's just really time to up level, and there's never been an easier time to do it, honestly, than now. Like, the planet is right. There's plenty of awesome, obvious, smart healers that are helping guide us on this journey. There are, millions of us who are just ascending through the ranks, and like waking up in order to serve the millions that we can now connect with online through technology. Spirit and tech is together in the year 2020. I mean, this is literally the birth of the new earth, the new age of like everything that we've been wanting is here on this planet. So go forth. All hands on deck. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Tracee, for imparting your beautiful knowledge and for being with us and for helping just guide us through this massive time, this massive shift. You are indeed an angel, and I love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whew, you're welcome. All right, we're going to end now. Make sure to check out all the links and get the books.
Peace.